Hello, everybody. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So during the last pandemic, you guys know that I was like, I nailed almost everything about it very, very early on. And I actually predicted that we would have a far worse pandemic in the future. I believe we're at that point. All right, so we've heard Juan O'Savin say that America will have a near-death experience. I think we're at that point, right? So the hantavirus is predictive programming. They've been planning this at least as far back as 1995 in the predictive programming with a movie, I believe it's called Outbreak. So this movie basically, they had a scene in there where they talked about the hantavirus. And it wasn't the one, but the other one was a huge outbreak, and it caused massive devastation. So this hantavirus, as we're going to discuss, and then I'm going to give you some options to boost your immunity and so forth, like I did in the last one. Now, you guys remember in the last one, there was a lot of us that gave everyone lots of information about how to boost the immunity, and they shut us down, right? So I'm trying to get ahead of this. And I think this is really very important that we understand, you know, the situation that we're heading into. It could be quite devastating, not only for America, but for the world as well, right? Because we know that the evil ones have plan to devastate humanity's numbers all the way down to 500, which is 500 million, 500, maybe that low, but 500 million like they had in the Georgia Guidestones. And just recently, we had, who's the head of the CNN that created CNN, that one guy, I can't think of his name right now, but Ted Turner. So Ted Turner just recently died on the day that the hantavirus was basically exposed. He died on that day, right? And we know how they determine, when people pass away to, like some kind of sacrifice or something. Who knows if he's really dead, but anyway, supposedly he passed away on the day that they exposed the hantavirus. And he had said previously before that, if you watched my show yesterday, you know what I'm talking about. He said that he was talking to the Audubon Society, a bird group, right? And so the people that died on this cruise were bird watching, all right? So the predictive programming is all over this, guys. It's massive. It's massive. So you know that they can create something and spread it. They don't need it to spread naturally. They just need some kind of option, some kind of movie like scene where it's it seems like in these movies they've been promoting it for a while. Maybe they had the intention of exposing it quite some time ago, but the timing is now, right? The timing is now. And here we are at this one moment in history that we're going to be faced with something very devastating, unfortunately. So just like with the COVID, there a lot of fear that was put out. I'm not trying to fearmonger people. I'm trying to inform, trying to help people see a bigger picture. That's always been my intention. When I first really started, of course, I started earlier with remote viewing and intuition and all that kind of stuff. And then I started to turn all of that intuition and remote viewing into the COVID, exposing that, and then exposing all the deep state activities over the last 6 years or so. So here we are at that point again, where we're going to have, another incredibly devastating event, I believe, for humanity. All right. So let's look at some of the stuff that I've been looking at, why hantavirus is not like COVID. So they're going to come out and they're going to, like, assuage people's fears in the beginning, just like they did with COVID. It's a nothing burger. It's like not real. It's not really nothing. And then we started to see scenes in China that I'd said were coming. I said that masking was coming before it came. I said that do not get the vaccination well before people were getting that on a massive level. 70% of Americans got vaccinated. All right. And it's even higher in some areas, other areas of the world. Now, interestingly, they were already creating this scenario, and they had already been creating a vaccination before this even started. And the same thing is happening now. So a couple of years ago, Moderna, who was very instrumental in creating vaccination for the last pandemic, has been, over the last couple of years, creating a vaccination for the hantavirus. How about that? All right. And so it's pretty crazy when you start to accumulate all the disinformation, all the, predictive programming, all the fear mongering that's starting right now. You can look online now. It is coming in heavy now. It's starting to come in heavy, just like it did for COVID. It's wash, rinse, repeat, right? But this time it's going to be pretty devastating, guys, right? So don't blow this off. Now, I said don't blow off the last one in the beginning, but then when we saw that it was a nothing burger, then I jumped on that. So this could, transition back and forth, and it could be like nothing. And then, everybody, goes out and gets vaccinated for this thing. And that's where, like we saw with COVID, that's where things really get bad. All right. So I don't know. Will this be the time where people really should get vaccinated? I don't know. I don't trust any vaccination, but you never know in these events, guys. All right. So the deadly cruise ship outbreak of hantavirus, a rare rodent-borne illness, has evoked memories of the early days of COVID. But they're saying the infectious diseases, the CBS News, right? Communist broadcast system. All right. But infectious disease specialists and public health officials say there are clear differences in this case that make the risk to the public extremely low. Okay? Extremely low. This is not another COVID. Yes, it's not another COVID. So this is from the World Health Organization, Director General Dr. Tedros. And I think that guy's not even a doctor, right? But because he assumed that position, they call him doctor. And so he was really out for COVID. And here he is again, creating the same narrative. So there have been at least 10 confirmed or suspected cases tied to the Dutch-flagged MV Hondius to date, including 3 fatalities. A group of 18 American passengers who returned to the U.S. early Monday are being monitored at specialized medical facilities in Nebraska. It's a very high level. They have 20 different, sealed rooms, individual sealed rooms for each of the 16 people. And then I guess a couple of those are already infected. So they're in another ice. So it is real. It's already happening. And they're saying, you have to have are becoming infected without close contact, and they reported some of that earlier. A stewardess that seemingly, whether it was true or not, got this disease, and she didn't have close contact. She wasn't kissing anybody and exchanging bodily fluids or whatever, but she supposedly is down with the hantavirus. Now, the one strain. There's only one strain in the world that is a person to person. Otherwise, you have to get rodent fecal matter where it gets airborne and you breathe it in, and it goes deep into your lung tissue, and over time you become sick. That's how it normally happens. And 40% or more of people that get the regular hantavirus die from it. 40%, right? Imagine 40% of the world getting this and dying, right? Not a good thing, right? But this is something that we know that they have planned for a long time. Now, like I said, there's only one. There can only be one. And that one is the Andes virus strain. Now, this is what they're saying about this. We do believe there may be some human-to-human transmission that's happening among the really close contacts. The husband and wife, people who've shared cabins, blah, blah, blah. But this is a cruise ship, right? Everyone isn't, and this is a small group. There's only 140 on this cruise ship. You get the crew and, the people. A lot of times on some of these cruise ships of that size, they have almost as many people that are, the crew and so forth. There's almost as many people on the crew servicing everybody as there is people on the cruise. And they haven't talked about them yet, right? So the cruise did stop, it says, at many different islands up the coast of Africa. And again, seeing a lot of different wildlife. On those islands, there are birds. Some islands have a lot of rodents, others don't. So they're like, could be there, could be here. They don't know exactly where. They're guessing. And I guess the place where they think they may have gotten this transmission of rodent fecal matter Andes virus strain is the only one that's transmissible to human, right? So they don't know if it's actually where they saw those birds. They're actually going to do trapping of some of the rodents in that area and see if there's any hantavirus in any of those rodents. So they're just guessing. Now it says Argentina's health ministry said in a statement Wednesday that it was reconstructing the itinerary of the Dutch couple who had traveled through southern Argentina and Chile before the expedition. It will also conduct rodent capture and analysis in Ushuaia, where they suspect they got the transmission of the hantavirus. But, it could have been in a lot of different areas. And they could have been because it's person-to-person transmission. And what they're finding out is, over time, like they've shown in all these movies, it can become more transmissible. Because you've had 3 people die, and you've had there's quite a few people that they know of at this point that are infected. Right now, some people got off this ship earlier. Now, did some of those people that may have had, have been exposed, did they go off and wander all over the world? Which these people are from all over the world. The Americans are from different states. There's 2 from New York, 2 from New Hampshire, and from all over the states. All right, so it has all. So facts. So we'll continue to look at all of these things as time goes on. But if we look at the movie Outbreak, 1995, 31 years ago, they discussed Morgan Freeman, and as you guys almost show the clip, it's very quick, a little bit over a minute. Dustin Hoffman, Morgan Freeman, they have an exchange. Dustin Hoffman thinks it's going to be this Ebola type virus, which during the filming of this movie, there was an outbreak of Ebola. And so in this movie, it was a created disease, which was, where is it? They bring it up in the clip, so I can't see it right now, but it was a created one, but like I said, they mentioned the hantavirus. So predictive programming starting all the way back then. Now, the Outbreak's plot speculates how far military and civilian agencies might go to contain the spread of a deadly contagious disease. So if this thing really starts to kick, we may see some serious lockdowns. And we know that we're coming up on an election cycle, which the last one started in an election cycle that they wanted to shut down, right? So this next election cycle is probably one they want to shut down. So some of us have been saying that this next election might not even happen, all right? Now, some people that are interested in manipulating like they did 2020 election would like to see it go down by mail-in ballots again, because those, as Jimmy Carter said, is mail-in ballots are the most manipulable and easily, way to, to destroy a free and fair election, right? So even Jimmy Carter said that, all right? So this COVID-19, when we had the COVID-19 pandemic, this movie was very popular, and maybe it will become popular again because it's basically showing some similarities to what could possibly happen, even more so than what happened during COVID. All right, so let's watch this little clip, and you guys will get a little taste of how long ago they've been doing predictive programming.
Hi, Marilyn. Is he in there?
Colonel, just a minute, please.
Oh, come in, Sam. Let you know what you'd be kind enough to get us some coffee. Would you like anything, Sam?
Why am I off the top of Billy?
Nothing for the Colonel. Yes, sir. Sit down, Sam. Now, did you or did you not say that Mataba was contained?
It's going to pop up again.
So Mataba. So this was the one that came from Zaire and spread all the way to California, and they did lockdowns and so forth. So they're discussing it here, but watch what he says. He's more concerned about the hantavirus.
Blood test, we don't know how it's transmitted. We don't know diddly squat.
Well, there's a fresh outbreak of the hantavirus in New Mexico. CDC needs help, so we're sending you.
No, send Peterson's team.
Don't tell me who to send on an assignment, Colonel. I told Senator Rosales I'd send my best man. That's you. Now get the hell on out of here.
We've got baseline information on Hanta. What am I going to do? To trap rats, Billy? We got the bug growing. We've got most of the protein isolated. We'll have an antibody test within a week. Casey's put the bug into rodents and rhesus, and if everything goes well, we'll know the genetic sequence within a month, and if you leave us alone, we'll map this guy down to its last gene. Make you famous.
Sam.
Yeah.
The odds of Mataba causing us any more problems are about 1,000,000 to 1, and you know that.
No, I don't know that.
Well, you should. And you would if you didn't harbor this morbid desire to face the end of the world.
All right. So there you go. All the way back in 1995, they started dropping these little hints about the hantavirus. Even though the hantavirus is something that has been, around for quite some time, and it does cause some deaths over time, but it's a very, very rare, up to now, disease. And we'll call it disease because they've never isolated any virus. So let's move on. So this is from Gematria Effect News. I played a little bit of clips from this last night when I first started to talk about this. It looks like, just like the COVID, it may become a daily event. I don't know, but we'll we'll monitor this. Hopefully it doesn't get out of hand, but like I said, I got a really bad feeling about this one. All right, so let's listen to this. You're going to see that this has been programmed, predictive program for a long time. And it's already starting to, get to the point where it's becoming worse. All right. And they're going to talk about this. We know the verbiage for this. It happened in the last one. They're starting to repeat the same verbiage, or at least here, they're starting to repeat the same verbiage of, how this thing starts to get worse than it actually is, and how maybe like they did in a lab in Wuhan, they have already, formulated something that's going to be far worse than what it normally is. But you have to, have to watch that. So this very, very close person-to-person contact is already starting to, get out of hand and starting to generate into something far more.
Lethal and plague-like. If everything we've discussed so far hasn't been enough for you, but has sparked your curiosity, then I would recommend going to the FDA fact sheet and adverse reporting sheet for the Pfizer COVID jab. It is quite the thing. Most people will probably never read it, but buried beneath those blurbs of wildly long words on page 33, you're going to find something very, very peculiar. In this paragraph, in the H section, one of the adverse side effects, possible adverse side effects of the jab is something known as hantavirus. Now, where have we heard that before? Oh, yeah, it's the point of this video. And this is really strange because it's something that should only be in extremely rare cases transmitted via rat to human. And it's even more rare to go from human to human. So why it's pulled up in this section of possible side effects of an injection makes no sense to me. In fact, the general herpes section makes more sense to me than why this would be there. That's something I think Pfizer, among many things, should be answering for, because what on earth? How does it even remotely make sense that the jab could result in rodent-borne diseases presenting themselves in you? And it also, though, makes this tweet that we talked about predicting hantavirus seem even more impressive, because he also referenced COVID in there, and there's a little interlink happening on. Interlink. Now, it seems like a good place to insert the fact that the WHO in April brought several countries together. I thought I should repeat that for the sake of really underlining that point, to study and do some simulations of the outbreak of a new disease and how to react to that.
So again, just like they did with COVID-19, they had simulations just before the outbreak of COVID-19. Everything is lining up, guys. It's wash, rinse, repeat. All right. So wash, rinse, repeat. You're going to see the same things over and over again if you do the research. And it's crazy just how easy it is to spot this stuff. At first I was just like watching this, just like I did with COVID-19. I started watching it long before it became mainstream. So now I've seen their pattern. I can jump on this and start to press this very early on. This looks like worst case scenario that we're going to see with this thing.
That's actually from their own data and their own websites. I'm not kidding. It's almost too much to believe. Public health emergencies in mind, I want to remind you that the hantavirus can really only spread from human to human via very intimate contact. I'm going to re-underline very intimate contact, I mean that the literal definition of the word. So then this is where things get really dark, if they weren't already. Supposedly, there are people who are now getting sick just by being in proximity to people who caught this disease. The boat, as we know, roughly 30 people got off the ship and the first guy perished on board the boat. And I can't actually confirm this story that's in the media, because it seems so outrageous. But the story is that a stewardess got sick by being in proximity to one of the passengers who happened to be one of the people on the MV Hondius. And since we know that you really would have to be coughing and swallowing the saliva.
All right. So we know that they were doing gain of function in Wuhan, and who funded that? That was Fauci through the military, right? The bad military, the bad U.S. military, all right? Because they could no longer do it in America. So that had been shut down in America. So the places where they were doing it in America, they no longer could do it. And then they moved it offshore to China, who is willing to pay to play. So they got paid probably big bucks. I've talked about how I saw this in remote view, how it was basically spread, how it was given off to a military officer. Because remember, they had worldwide military games. I think it was in October, just before the spread of COVID in China. It started spreading in China, and of course they said it was from bats. Now we got, so bats are kind of like flying rodents, right? So now we have land rodents that are spreading it supposedly. I don't know. They just have to have these crazy things in their scheme of what they want to foist upon unsuspecting, for the most part, people of the world. But we're exposing this right now, and hopefully we can get ahead of this and prepare ourselves, boost our immunity and so forth. But it's probably going to get pretty dark, guys. All right. So you need to really start to look at this stuff and start to do your research, start to do your planning, start to prepare and so forth, in my honest opinion.
Of someone else, or swapping spit, I mean that also in the literal definition, with somebody to get this disease, then how this stewardess got it doesn't make sense, because that wasn't happening. And if it wasn't happening and this person actually did get the hantavirus, that means we are dealing with something way worse than what we are told, because the hantavirus should not be able to travel in this manner, at least not organically. Because if it's traveling without that intimate contact, then my goodness, this could be insane. And it would be something that really could only happen if the virus had been altered, or in other words, manipulated through something like, let's say, gain of function research, a term that came into the limelight during the last situation, we'll call it, and is the reason why there was a sample of COVID in a laboratory in China that then leaked out. I think even mainstream media admits that now, and even the CIA, I think, is saying that that's what happened. Finally, despite initial persecution of people who put that story out there. In any case, gain of function is something that has a very negative perception to almost everybody except for the freaks that do it. And I mean freaks, because we are talking about the ability to make incredibly lethal.
I love that. It has a negative gain of function has a negative connotation, except for the freaks who do it. Right? Yes, the sadistic, egoic, people that are vampires and werewolves or something crazy, reptoids. It's the only way you can describe these people. You have to go off world or something with these people, because they're so evil. It's just hard to fathom, but we have to understand, the types of people, like the art of war. You have to know thy enemy. You have to know who you're up against. And I've been talking about this for 6 years now, in detail. So here we are with these sadistic monsters who are going to probably, kill off a massive portion of the population now.
Diseases, and it's happening all over the world. If you're involved directly or indirectly with the enhancing and increasing of potency of a disease or a virus, that is pure evil and is only going to go wrong, as we've already seen. And now there's an argument that could be what's happening here, and people just don't want to admit it, with this hantavirus, because how else this virus was suddenly able to travel, if this story is true, from person to person without that intimate contact, then something's got to be going on, because either somebody was working on it and it leaked out, or was intentionally released, or there's this tiny chance that it just so happened to gain this new function naturally like that, despite never having shown that ability before, insofar as anyone is aware.
Okay, when we look at the wash, rinse, and repeat, at some point, they're going to say that it did naturally, gain a function to the point where it's now able to transmit very quickly. So it's very important that we get out in front of this very early on and start to understand that this is something that's going to be very deadly.
So since we're going to go with what's statistically most likely here, let's follow that train of thought, because there's actually some evidence that this could have happened. And it comes from another tweet, funny enough, that happens to unintentionally possibly predict the very thing happening today. And it comes from someone named Jason, who runs the X account named Jason the Germ Guy Tetro. And he's pretty deep in this field from what I can tell. And up until recently, he hadn't gotten much of a following on the internet, because I don't think that was his goal. But he has gained a bit of a following after one of his tweets went viral. And it's an unfortunate one from 14 years ago. And it's unfortunate because if what he says is true, then boy, oh boy, are we in for it. And before we read the tweets themselves, I want to point out that the first one came out on June of 2022, almost 4 years to the date before this series of events began. And this one came out on May 1st of 2012 at 11:25 a.m., almost 14 years to the day events began. So the parallels there are weird. And really, I don't think the word weird does enough justice for it. It's uncanny and creepy. But the tweet reads as follows from Jason the Germ Guy Tetro. Overheard behind me while watching #H5N1 NAS workshop today. Quote, "You want to really make a pandemic? Make hantavirus human transmissible." Oh my goodness. I hope what he says did not happen, because there's no other.
All right. So predictive programming, all the way back 4 years ago, almost to the day that this outbreak started. And this is part of, what they do. So did he hear this? Is he part of it? Is he, disclosing something that he heard, like he's saying, or was he given the information to reveal that far back? So that makes it even more, earth-shattering and spooky for people that, kind of wonder, because I guess the guy didn't have a lot of followers, but now he does. All right. So now we need to really start to open our minds up to the possibility that this is about ready to explode on humanity.
Information he gives in that tweet, he doesn't expand much more on it, doesn't say who he heard it from, because he doesn't seem to know. And yet it has sparked a lot of outrage, and rightfully so, because if what he says he heard actually happened, then we're in for it. And like I said, if this is even 1/8 as deadly disease, or 1/10 as deadly disease as the media would like us to believe. And once again, we don't know who Jason's talking about. We can't even tell if it actually happened, but I like to trust people who haven't given me reason to not trust them. So if Jason really did hear that, then it's possible someone was actually working on the very thing we're experiencing and possibly seeing today. Like I've said, though, take a lot of this with a grain of salt, because you can't trust mainstream media reporting. And this is, after all, what he believes he heard 14 years ago. And yet it is another prediction at this point, or warning. This one unintentional, but nonetheless still very revealing. Now, continuing, many have pointed out that it's a little ironic and well-timed and bizarre that Moderna, of all companies, one of the most deplorable ones on earth, he's just sick, and in fact is, don't even get me started. But Moderna, that one, partnered with a Korean university in 2024 to co-develop a hantavirus vaccine, and I believe it's an mRNA one as well, which we've learned so much about in these past few years and what those actually do. Why? I don't know, because there's not really a huge market to sell these vaccines to. It's not like there's a lot of people who get infected with this. Yes, although it's thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even 100,000 plus, that's not a very huge market for a massive pharmaceutical corporation to be trying to hit. And as such, it doesn't make that much sense for them to go and invest all that money into something that is not really going to have a giant payout over time, unless they think it might in the future have a giant payout. Indeed, fun fact, the term hanta and the hantavirus is named after a river in Korea because the first known reportings, or at least large-scale reportings of this hantavirus, happened in the Korean War among U.S. soldiers and soldiers on the other sides in that conflict. Hence hantavirus, because of the river. And there was a lot of rodents. My goodness, Korea would be an awful place to be at that time. A little history lesson over. Many, because of this, have begun to wonder if they were developing it 2 years ago. Let's say it took them a little bit of time to get it right. And now they have this vaccine. People are speculating. And I think based on recent history, it's fair to wonder if perhaps Moderna knew about a little something that was going to go down and wanted to make sure they were ready and on top of this for it. And were ready to capitalize on a new disease right when it came out. Guys, isn't it just great? We had this shot for you. Why don't you take it? And we'll make sure no one gets the big bad hantavirus with an alleged 40% mortality rate in the future. And on that note, I would like to discuss, and we're going to show a clip of a Queensland, if I'm not incorrect, laboratory where they're discussing how 300 some odd vials of diseases went missing from the lab.
There's not a clear record of the destruction of 323 samples that cannot be located.
So I'm announcing an investigation into the record-keeping breaches discovered at Queensland Health's Public Health Virology Laboratory.
The blunder relates to a locked freezer storing 93 live samples of hantavirus, 2 live samples of hantavirus, and more than 200 fragments of lysovirus. The freezer broke in 2021 and the materials transferred, but a gap in the paperwork means no one knows where they went.
Among those many vials, which is horrifying to think about, 2 of those vials contained hantavirus samples, and those virus samples are missing still.
All right. So if we look at the past and the percentage of people that died from COVID-19, so depending on where you're at and so forth, or how it's been reported, they go by per 1,000 or something like that. So 10 per 1,000 seems to be the going rate, which is like a 1%. Right. So that's a lot less than the 40% death rate of hantavirus. Right. A lot less. So it's very interesting. It's all bullshit. Nadine, we'll find out, right? So I don't think it's bullshit at all. Obviously, from what you're seeing, it's not bullshit at all. All right, so let's look at some more things. How many passengers are quarantining in Nebraska? So that's not bullshit, right? These can actually be looked up, and you can find this. Go with bullshit and don't pay attention to what's going on around you. All right, see how that works out for you. As of May 11th, 2026, there are 16 passengers from MV Hondius cruise ship currently quarantining in Nebraska. These individuals, consisting of 15 U.S. residents and 1 British dual national, are being monitored at the University of Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha. The passengers are staying at the National Quarantine Unit, the only federally funded facility of its kind in the country, which features 20 single occupancy rooms with negative air pressure systems. While 16 individuals remain in Nebraska, 2 other American passengers from the same ship were transferred to a quarantine unit at Emory University in Georgia for further assessment after showing symptoms of testing positive for hantavirus. So 2 of the 18 are already showing symptoms for hantavirus. Now, what's going to happen to them? Will they survive? Can we get early enough treatment for this? And if it gets, some have said that if you get early enough treatment, then the survival factor is increased. If you start to catch it within the lungs, evidently it's deep within the lungs. And if you catch it early enough, then survivability is much greater, right? That's if it's normal hantavirus. That's a very important and key word, normal. It's not gain of function hantavirus, which it seems like these people may have been exposed to gain of function hantavirus. All right. So this is what we're up against right now. Now, how is this going to like play out over the short term? So a virus or some other pathogen emerges somewhere in the world. The media shifts into apocalyptic mode. All right. So I don't think we're quite in apocalyptic mode yet. All right. And if everything shuts down, it gets silent on this at some point, that's good. But it seems to me that it's ramping up. So we're moving into the apocalyptic phase, in my opinion. Experts have started to appear predicting potential catastrophe. So at this point, a lot of experts are going, it's a nothing burger. It's, because they're going off of the normal hantavirus, if there is such a thing, virus, or infection, disease, whatever it is, all right? People that get this thing that seems to make people die, 40% death rate, right? So it's computer models project millions dead if the right circumstances coalesce. So if the right circumstances, if this is a gain of function type of event, which if we start to see more deaths happening and we start to have people just pop, here and there, that don't seem to have at any point have any connection with them, but they were exposed to people that were infected, that didn't know they're infected, right? And they're moving about and spreading it, like we've seen in a lot of these movies, worst case scenario. So if we start to see that, then we're going to see the computer models blow up, right? And we're going to see some serious panic in the public, all right? And so then the computer models project millions dead. Politicians declare emergencies. Pharmaceutical companies announce new products, like Moderna has been working on this for 2 years, vaccination, of course. So they stand to make a lot more money again. Social media turns into a digital panic attack. Now we have to not let that happen within our community, right? We have to share this in good faith and good conscience, and keep things on the level. People will come in to attack us, like we've already seen somebody say it's all bullshit. All right, so and that could just be someone that just has a whoop, they just shut down. Their minds just shut down when faced with something like this, or they could be a troll. I don't know. So it could be all the above, right? Anyone. So you have to know that this is going to happen. Don't listen to the trolling. Don't listen to the naysayers. Keep an open mind that this could be possibly something that you need to be aware of. All right. So ordinary people who just wanted to buy eggs and walk the dog suddenly feel like civilization is one cough away from collapse. So we've seen this in the past. Most people, if this starts to catch traction, are going to get really, really scared. And there's nothing we can do about that, right? That's where their consciousness is at. We know we have a lot of NPCs out there that are part of the deep state, have basically cloned the hell out of a lot of people, put a lot of people out there that basically are going to be fearmongers and make this thing, roll in a certain direction. They're going to probably be the people that are going to go bye-bye, increase those death counts, just like they did with COVID-19 in the early stages, where motorcycle accidents were getting tested that died from it, motorcycle accident. And then it's like, oh, it's COVID. And we have, all these people that are lining up in hospitals and all the bullshit that they did in the past. This one could really be that thing that they, accounted for in the early stages. Of course, I don't think this time we'll have dancing nurses and whatever. if we do, we'll need to find where they are, and but we won't, because they're all actors, making this thing go in a certain direction. That's what they had to do back then. Now, I don't think we're going to have a lot of that this time. Now, it's going to be interesting to see, the psychics, how they're going to look at this. We're going to start to look at that. Now, again, a lot of information that the psychics are probably going to tap into is disinformation that's going to be put out there. Because I've talked about how there's disinformation out there for remote viewers and psychics and card readers and so forth. I have been the target of some of these disinformation programs, and I attributed that to these disinformation on the fourth dimensional atmosphere that's out there, where these negative things are put out there. Now, once this thing, if it does, starts to roll over and become something much bigger, you're going to see, then everybody's going to jump on board. But at this point, early stages of it, there's a lot of people that are naysaying, they don't think it's going to happen. That could be because they're looking into this and being misinformed in certain ways. All right. So you're going to have to keep an open mind. So looking at it from an analytical and intuitive and a remote viewing level, this is real for me. All right. So you need to really be heads up. Okay. Now, whether it continues to move in that direction remains to be seen. If we can, head it off, if we can get some good people that get involved and start to release information that's going to keep people, their immune systems high, so that they can weather through a potential storm, whether it's this or whether it's something else or, whatever, it's going to make a difference if we start to boost our immune systems. Right. So, of course, one of the greatest ways that I have seen to boost immune systems in my entire life is the LifeWave stuff. So let's look at, what David Schmidt is saying about the X2O, which I think is probably, if we've seen anything that's remotely close to medbed type stuff, of course, we can't call it that. But as far as like the people that are getting incredible results, the X2O machine, which is selling out as fast as they can make it. You have to get on a waiting list. And even then, being on the waiting list doesn't mean you're going to get the machine anytime soon, because like I said, it's selling out within, I think the last batch, they had 1,000 that released on Thursday morning, I think 10 o'clock Eastern time, and it was gone within 28 minutes. So, and I think with what's going on right now, it's going to sell a lot faster, guys. So the best thing is to get on the waiting list. But why? Why would you want to be on this? Like I said, I think this is one of the greatest technologies for boosting your immune system that you can be on right now.
Let's do it. So hopefully I can share screen here. All right. Okay. Okay. So of course we're talking about X2O. And this is the first and the only water technology that will infuse water with light. Now, the benefit to this is that because the light gets trapped inside the water, when you drink the water, the light is released inside the body. So what are going to be the benefits to this, and how exactly do we do this? How is it possible? So first, we'll go over what the legal compliant claims are. Our studies, when we do them, we show a whole variety of different benefits, and then we have to put those studies in front of our legal.
All right. So I want you guys to look at removes contaminants. It has two filtration systems, two different filtrations. It's removing, I've never seen a system that removes microplastics, are probably out there, but this is the only one that I know of that does that. Microplastics are in the water on a massive scale. Now, Another very important thing, of course, it's putting light in your system. So we are light beings. So disease is darkness. So any kind of disease, hantavirus, or whatever it could be that comes into your system is darkness. And if you're putting light into your system, it's going to help increase your immune system and potentially, hopefully, defeat any darkness that's in your body. Now, removes contaminants. Remember, with COVID-19, they were checking the water, the refuse that was coming from toilets and so forth, and sinks and everything that was going into filtration systems, city filtration systems, and they were checking it for COVID. Now, there's a lot of pharmaceutical stuff that's going into people's bodies and then getting eliminated from their bodies that goes back into these systems that supposedly is removing that. It's not. It's not. If you're not using a very, very advanced filtration system, you're subjected to probably a lot of pharmaceuticals, guys, from city water. I'm not saying it's from all city water. Maybe some are better than others at removing it, but from what I'm reading, what I'm seeing, it's not being removed. All right, so let's look at some more.
So some of the benefits that you can expect from this system is that first, it's going to improve hydration. So you can think of this like a structured water product. Normally, we take different types of minerals, add it to water, and it will cause the water to form a structure. So this reduces the surface tension in the water, and that makes the water enter the inside of the cell much more efficiently. So when we're talking about improving hydration, that's what we're really talking about. We see improvements in energy production, improvements in metabolism. You'll notice.
All right, I've done these videos. There's more of these videos down in my, and I have, in fact, in like 20 minutes, I'm going to have a Miracle Monday where people are going to talk about the benefits of the water machine. I'm going to talk about one of mine, which is stupendous. And just one of many. And a lot of us have incredible results from it. So as he's talking about, optimizes hydration at the cellular level. This is this is a major problem for a lot of people. They're not getting good hydration. It provides antioxidant properties by infusing water with hydrogen, which acts as an antioxidant when dissolved in water, supporting the body's natural defenses. Results are in seconds. I can tell you, I still get results in seconds. The first time I drank this, I was like, holy moly. It felt very light. It felt like all the neurons in my brain were firing on a much higher level. My throat seemed like there's light coming out of my throat. I felt very light. Wellness, it was amazing. So results in seconds, helped optimize key physiological functions, supports bioelectrical activity, energy levels, and circulation. Bioelectrical activity. And I had an injury. I'll just tell you guys right now. I'm going to talk about this in detail on my Miracle Monday show. But I had an injury where my kneecap was shattered when I was in the SEAL teams, and there was one part right the muscle in your right next to your kneecap. I had all kinds of stimulation, I had electrical stimulation, I had light, I had I was doing all kind of, people working with me. And I totally focused on it, did all kinds of exercises trying to, activate it. It never activated. And that was, almost 25 years ago. I just noticed in the gym that area is now activated. I have muscle in that area for the first time in 25 years, and I attribute it to the water machine. So incredible benefits a lot of us are experiencing. Now, you still want to use, ideally, the X39 and Cellar, which activates your stem cells. It's like a Trinity type of, event where you're activating all three of those and getting immune support, I think, for the coming situation that we're going to move into. All right. So here is how you, get into it. If you're not there yet, if you're not using LifeWave, this is how you get in. My website is LifeWave Michael Jaco. And when you come to that website, there's that water machine wait list. You can, if you're a brand partner, if you're not a brand partner, very easy to become a brand partner. Go into this list. If you're not sure, at the bottom of this, there's an info, hit info. And I have an incredible team. All right. I'm number one in LifeWave in a lot of ways. All right. And that's because I have a great team and we have a great group of people, and we're making amazing things happen. So I highly recommend you come in and get involved with us. So one of the things I want to point out is in the last event that we went to, I was number one. So Hawaii, I was number one. I've been number one in the business for 4 years. As far as customers, the top guy, I want to show a little bit of that. So you guys can see, if you're coming into our team, you're coming into one of the best teams, if not the best team, in my opinion, of course, that you can get into. So let's look at the numbers. By the numbers, that's not the one. All right. Let's get to the one. Where's the one? Window. All right. I think this is it. Hopefully it comes to, yeah, there it is. All right. So personally sponsored rank advancement. So number 3 in the top 10 for that last event. So helping people to advance is one of the things, that I'm very skilled at. Of course, I'm brand new to building businesses, guys. So if you're brand new to building businesses, this is you're in a good group, because I've learned to quickly learn the system and help other people advance as well. So if you look at customer points, like I was talking about, number 1 in customer points, as you see here. So the top guy, top 10 in Honolulu. And so number 3 in getting, helping people build, because I'm still learning and still getting to the point where I'm going to be number 1 at some point, because that's the way I work, right? That's the way I roll. And for the whole trip for Honolulu, in a way it's been for almost every trip that I've been on so far, I'm at the top, right? So helping people, move to the top is one of the things that I excel in. I excelled in it in the CIA, in the SEAL teams, and now again here with LifeWave. So here's the leaderboard for Honolulu. So there's the numbers. By the numbers, at the top, 626, 160 more than the next group, and almost double what most people are getting in the 300 range, right? So, and like I said, for the last 4 years, I've been number 1 in customer acquisition in the world, right? And in North America. So that's one of the things I think is going to be very important going forward, because at some point we're going to have a major downturn, and who knows, maybe this next event will cause that to happen. So economically, when you look back in time to 1929 or any downturn, 2007, the Great Recession, the thing that people go to the most is health, right? And so we excel at that. So we're the cutting edge technology for that, Tesla level technology, medbed level technology. And if you want to launch your health and your wealth in the future, like the Starship Enterprise, go boldly where no man has gone before, or woman. then you want to get involved with us. All right. So boost your health, boost your immunity, get with the programs that are doing that for a lot of people. If you're new to this, watch the show that I'm going to do right after this. I'll broadcast it live here in YouTube, like this is going live in YouTube right now. Within the next 12 minutes, as I'm looking at the time here, I'm going to be broadcasting the LifeWave Miracle Monday. Right. So if you've never seen one, join in and you're going to see what this is all about. And it could be very beneficial for you and your family going forward, especially coming up. So there's one of the patches right there, activating my glutathione. So glutathione, helping to prevent, negative effects on the body, boosting your immune system and so forth. Definitely one of those patches that you want to have on going forward. All right, guys, lots of love. Stay in the love vibration. Help each other out. Stay informed. Let's hope. Let's pray that this is just a nothing burger. But from everything I'm seeing, this is going to be pretty bad. Right. All right. So let's go. Let's ride this. Let's ride this pony, and let's control it and ride into the sunset and be happy about it. But unfortunately, probably a lot of people won't be on this trip with us. All right, guys. Lots of love. Stay in love vibration. I'll see you guys next time.